Well, no one knows the Georgia Bulldogs quite like Aaron Murray. That might be a little bit dramatic of an opening there, but Aaron's been around the program for a while. Certainly has a background in understanding things, and he's certainly concerned here as we get closer to the Georgia-Clemson game to open the season. And I did want to read you what he had to say on WJOX over in Birmingham. Let me read the full quote for you so that you can. We're going to break it down right after that. Aaron, let's just hear what he has to say. Honestly, I'm concerned about the whole offense right now. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty confident about the Bulldogs about 3 weeks ago. I took a trip to Athens, watched the scrimmage. Defense usually beginning of camp dominates just due to the fact that the offense isn't really installed a lot. It's easier to play defense. You can go out there with 3 or 4 schemes and coverages and blitzes and be perfectly fine. And that's not the case for the offense. So I walked away saying, okay, maybe it's because of that. Let's give it some time. And then he goes on to say, I talked to somebody who was at scrimmage the other day, and it was kind of the same story. The offensive line has been okay. Running backs look good. We know that. JT looks fine. But I am more worried about the receivers. He says, I am super concerned that we don't have the playmaking ability. That's something I was concerned about last year as well. A lot of them are banged up. It just has not been a really good camp offensively for the Dogs, and that worries me going into the Clemson defense week 1. Well, I don't think there's a lot to kind of break down there. I don't really think that there's much you can dispute there. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries for Georgia on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I cover Georgia on a day-to-day basis, and I know Aaron knows, vastly more about football than I do. I do wonder if he realizes how many guys are healthy versus how bad it was. That first scrimmage was bad, and you hardly had any receivers out there. I mean, Keiris Jackson, from my memory, was not out there. Jermaine Burton was not out there. Obviously, Eric Gilbert was not out there. George Pickens, Dominique Blaylock. That's a lot of 5-star guys that were not out there. Now you have obviously Darnell Washington is probably not going to play in this game. So Darnell, Eric Gilbert, George Pickens, which you knew, Dominique Blaylock, those guys are all 5-star guys. They're not going to play in this game, it looks like. So, for Georgia, the concern is receiver. And the question, I think Aaron's exactly right. What I'm trying to reconcile right now in the lead up to this game is that Kirby Smart seems confident. Now, I've not talked to Kirby on Monday or Tuesday as of recording this, so maybe his tone will change. I don't know. But maybe Georgia's defense is that good that they can stop Georgia's offense. No problem. The mixture of what you heard from insiders who were able to watch all of the scrimmages is mixed. There were people that told me that the offense was much better than was being portrayed, and that the defense is good and everything, but the offense had their way at times. But at the end of the day, when you take essentially the top 44 players on Georgia's team and put them against the top 44 on Clemson, those are the guys that are going to have to execute. Top 44 may even be a little bbit much, but I'm including in that all of your receivers and the guys who are going to play on special teams. That group, Jackpot. Oh, these are I'm starting to sound like Vince Dooley here. But you could lose this game on special teams. Both teams could lose this game on special teams. And Clemson's punter is in his 6th, I think, year there. I think he's going to leave with a graduate degree. And I'm not making fun. I'm being serious. So he's been around the block for a while. He's had some adventurous moments up there, but most punters can be in that ballpark. Jake Camarda knows about that. And then, I don't know a lot about Clemson's kicker, but Jack Podnesley has proven that he can get things done in the clutch. I mean, he's had some long field goals. One was a game winner for a New Year's Six bowl game. So if you're Georgia, and the plan for the whole summer was going to be, we're going to attack these guys with these big guys that we've got. Darnell Washington, Eric Gilbert. We're going to get it done. We're going to, let Todd Monken do his thing. And then it's late August. Darnell's out. Eric is probably out. You knew it would be kind of challenging for Dominic Blaylock to get back in time for this game. That looks like that's not going to happen. Then all of a sudden, you got Kyrus, who they had the surgery earlier in the year, and they knew that he would take a while to get back, so he's getting back now, and then Jermaine Burton. So you might not be able to chunk it around the yard the whole time, I think the problem is you're not going to be able, if you're Georgia, and what Aaron has. Listen, Aaron's not an alarmist, and he's not trying to get clicks on a radio show. I mean, that he doesn't care. So he's just telling you the truth as he sees it. I do wonder what they're going to do, because Clemson, the challenge for Clemson is going to be their offensive line, I think. The challenge for Georgia is going to be its wide receivers. Well, you can solve the wide receivers if you can run. It's just that running on these guys, that might be asking a lot. Okay? But you never know, man. Like if you I've seen some teams run on people that you just didn't expect to happen. The more I think about this game, the more it's feeling like Georgia's game at Auburn in 2000, I think it was 18, or no, not 19, where Georgia just kind of had to gut the thing out. And it wasn't pretty. The defense had to play in a major way. And they won it 21-17 or whatever it was and locked up the East. But more about the style of play than the win or the loss is that's the mentality they're going to have coming in this thing, because they don't have all of their bullets. They just don't. And that's all there is to it. So this team is going to have to, one way or the other, figure out how to win this game. That's it. This is not going to be, it doesn't, it matters that you don't have all of your players. You just got to figure out how you can take what you've got, which isn't bad, that remains, and win the game. And you can win it in any number of ways. You can dominate on special teams, which, I don't think that's, dominate, I don't know, but they certainly could win special teams. And then, your defense could score. So there's any number of ways to win a football game. It does not help to not have your premier players play in a game. But I've seen it before. What you don't want is you get into a situation where you become Georgia 2013 and there's just nobody left. Aaron's probably having PTSD from, that whole season. It seems like that whole season they lost a significant player. Not every game, but a lot. You think about Malcolm Mitchell in the opener against Clemson. Todd Gurley didn't play for like half of that game against Clemson after the 75-yard touchdown. They both were out. Those are NFL players. So losing Todd during that game hurt. The Tennessee game for Georgia in 2013, where you're running with J.J. Green as your primary back. That's what Aaron's thinking about JT Daniels having to go through. And that would be, they wouldn't win like that. And they just wouldn't. But they still have guys now. You're not throwing a Rhett McGowan, all due respect. That's not what's happening here. You're just not going to throw to Eric Gilbert and George Pickens. You don't have both those guys out there at the same time. There could come a time this season in November where you are, but right now that's not the case. And that's what Aaron's looking at, saying, hey, this is a red flag. He's right. It's a concern for sure. And I don't cover Clemson, so I don't know where their deficiencies lie. I know they have some issues on the offensive line, trying to figure it all out with center. Surely they're not going to decide that the last week of the thing. Surely they've already decided that. For Georgia, I think it's about getting guys as healthy as possible, period, and trying to make a run at this thing and trying to just knife fight your way out of Charlotte with a win. Just a one-point win. Doesn't matter how you do it. But they're going to have to dig the way they did against Auburn in 2019. That's what this is going to be. It's going to be a hand-to-hand fight, because I don't think Georgia can play on the perimeter now, with not the way they want to. Ladd McConkey is not going to come out off the out of nowhere and make like 8 catches, that 2 of which are game changers. It's not going to happen. He may have some catches, but you're asking a lot for someone like that to be a game-changing player in their first game of college. Pickens is out. Blaylock is going to be out. Gilbert's out. Those are 5-star top 100 players. And you got Kyrus Jackson, Rosemead, Burton, Smith, McConkey, Robinson, Mitchell, and Meeks. They should all be ready to play. But your top 3 receivers or 3 of your top 4 are not going to play, and you don't have Darnell Washington either. So this is what Todd Monken's getting paid all the big bucks for. We'll see how it turns out.